بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا وافيا طيبا مباركا فيه، والصلاة والسلام على نبي الهدى، صلاة وسلاما عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على نهجه إلى يوم يبعثون. أما بعد. Respected my colleague, Associate Professor Dr. Syed Musa Al-Habshi, respected Dr. Kamula, respected the President of IIiBF Student Council or Association or Corporation, if you like, and my respected and my beloved brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I feel honored and excited to be given this opportunity to speak to all of you, the students of Islamic Finance Fraternity, as you are embarking on your studies to becoming a figure, a thinker, an impactful contributor to the industry. So that gives me a very good floor, if you like, or stage to engage with your mind and to challenge to some extent some of your algorithm as we speak in the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes before we can stop for Q&A a bit later. So I'm very happy and excited because it's quite rare to speak to the great mind of the community, and you are one of those communities who are currently involved in reading, of course, attending the lectures from the great scholars, doing research, and giving your best effort to understand the very principle, fundamental, vertical of Islamic finance and its permutation in various dimensions of life, be it from the banking or capital market, from the risk management, from derivative, or even from the wider perspective of how to bring a new economic system which is more fair, more sharing, and more caring perhaps to the whole community. So the journey has started for many years, but I don't think we have achieved even the desired milestone as we speak today. So the milestone have been achieved thus far, but looking at the ground and your own records, I don't think we have achieved that much in the last 4 decades thus far. Having said that, the topic today provides a new challenge altogether. That is whether we should create a new jurisprudence to face the new realities facing the community everywhere in the world, be it Islamic community or the non-Islamic community in the West. So this is something that I feel honored because I can engage the right mind on this topic. Whether this motion of mine will be something acceptable, something which is substantive enough to be brought to the center stage of Islamic finance or Islamic studies in general. So let me start by saying, or by putting a very basic fundamental question to all of you. What is Sharia and what is jurisprudence? And this is very important to strike the balance between the two, because the Sharia was revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was meant to be divine all the way. Whereas jurisprudence, it was not revealed. It was crafted, it was constructed, it was created through human intellect, through various form of intellectual capabilities. And jurisprudence is human by any standard. While Sharia is divine and should be the way, all the way, and human is human and should be human all the way as well. And so this is the dichotomy between Sharia and jurisprudence. And when we talk about the need for new jurisprudence, we are talking about the need to create a new humanity studies of jurisprudence that engage with human, that is coming from human to human, looking into issues, looking into the problem, looking into outstanding issues, but guided by the principle of the Sharia. The second question, or that leads me to the second question, was there in the past new jurisprudence, quoted and unquoted, in the past? As if sometimes when we talk about new jurisprudence, this new word has never occurred before. As if in the past there was no, relatively speaking, new jurisprudence for the community in the past. And this has been the misunderstanding of many segments of our community, as if new jurisprudence has only arrived now. In the past, there was no new jurisprudence. Our society in the past, for the last 1,400 years ago, never confronted new realities and never created new jurisprudence. And this is one of the common mistakes of the understanding. Each society, even after the death of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his demise of our beloved Prophet ﷺ, new realities came in, new landscape came in, new ideas, the way we have to govern the Islamic administration changed due to the changes of the variable of life. No more a small society, no more a Medinan-based society where they have to allow the company to leave the city. Then the moment they allow that, differences of opinion are bound to happen. This is a new sociology of jurisprudence started taking place under the knees, or under their own feet, without realizing that new jurisprudence was coming there. So I have to put a remark over here that new jurisprudence has been there forever in each and every society in the past. And they had to confront their new realities based on their new jurisprudence as they were living then. So new jurisprudence is not something new relative to our time. It was relative to our grandfather's time and the time of their grandfather as well. Of course, given the various economic and political conditions across the Islamic world, some society have literally died, no response at all. The heart beating was completely died, nothing to bother about the Islamic jurisprudence. They just tore the line during the colonialism and colonial power. But somehow, some society has responded, giving the solution to their own respective problems during their own time. So I have to say, and I wanted to be challenged later on, that when anyone talking about new jurisprudence, this is not the first time ever that we are inviting everyone to create new jurisprudence. The only problem perhaps in the past, in my reading and your own reading, of course you have read a lot, you have read the Fatwa, you have read the new jurisprudence like Fiqhul Miyah, the jurisprudence of water, the jurisprudence of Suq, the Bazaar, Ahkam Suq. And these two jurisprudence were not captured in the normal fiqh discussion in all school of thought, but they were the derivative, they were the expansion of the new jurisprudence looking into specific areas during that time. Perhaps the water in the past was not that critical. Water was abundant, pollution was not a word known to anyone during that time. Anyone can go to the river, water, and take the water. How much you use the water for your own commercial purposes, for the farming, manufacturing in small scale, it does not pollute the rivers. But the moment in the medieval period of Islam, the water has been used extensively for many other purposes, for the production, commercial production, the pollution came in. The scarcity of water came in. The urbanization came in, of course, in the small scale, but the water has become a very critical asset. It was not even an asset. What now in our 21st century, the most precious asset is not currency, it's water. As we speak today, the water is the survival of human being. So the scholars have developed what they call ahkam al-miyah, the rulings of water. Nowadays, we have new development of social media, the ruling of al-laji'in, refugees. When we talk about refugees, what will be our new rights and liabilities as a government, as a Muslim, as an NGO, as any other capacity to help refugees, Muslim and non-Muslim alike. Because refugees have no religion. They are human beings, they need some protection from someone. And how much we talk about refugees as we speak today. So this is new. Of course, in the past, there were refugees, but there was no borders. So they can go anywhere they wanted to go. But nowadays, you are refugees, you are stuck there until you die. And the law has need to be changed to allow the refugees to get some, if you like, help from neighboring countries. And with the nation state, as we speak today, that was not that easy and possible. So we need a new jurisprudence challenging the current landscape of the world. So there were new jurisprudence in the past. Perhaps some of you might put a research to collect the manifestation of new jurisprudence from one century to another. But no one has ever done that. At our university, I have seen many of your thesis titles. They are almost similar to one another. Year in, year out. Year in, year out. Sukuk default. Sukuk pricing. Sukuk price discovery. Sukuk this. Sukuk that. We are not taking new challenges. Of course, they will come in the last, when I wanted to strike aside at the last, okay? But let me give you the hint that we have to take the challenge of new realities of the world. Only then can we progress further. The knowledge and the civilization and the thinking process will not proceed until you are able to create the future yourself and not to repeat whatever people has done in the past. So the point is very clear. There has been new jurisprudence all the way in the history of Islamic civilization, from the rightly guided Caliph to the Umayyad, to the Abbasid, to the Ottoman, to the other mini superpowers in Islamic civilization, in Morocco, in North Africa, in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Oman, in China, the great Muslim in China. Everyone got to respond to their own new jurisprudence. But it was not recorded somehow. What we have inherited in our library are the traditional, the typical collection and the communication of fiqh, which is void of any new manifestation of the society. Of course, there was some other literature. Of course, we start getting them bit by bit. For example, if you were to, we have a collection in our library as a student of Islamic finance, you cannot avoid looking and reading through this literature in Arabic law, Al-Ma'iyar, Al-Mu'arib, and Fatawa Al-Afriqiyya, Wal-Andalus, the 500 years collection of fatwa in the northern Africa. Who brought this manuscript from the dust in the city of Morocco to the light of publication? The Orientalists. And that fatwa revealed the real cases of the Islamic society in that medieval period of Islam. I have not seen many students, again as a criticism, have ever given the time to read the real fatwa on the ground. We are still looking into the fiqh literature or the economics literature. We have missed the real experiences of wa'ad, of undertaking, of compensation, of bilateral agreement, which were real, not jurisprudential thought of the fuqaha in writing their books, or the economists who try to theorize, try to create a theory of everything. So we have to combine between the library kind of work and the economists, the ideas, the perception, the idealists, I call them, and the real practices on the ground. So after this, you have to run to the library and make sure you know where is the book. You can pick up the book. During my time at the university, it's not easy. In fact, I was the first to discover the book in the library. The fact that I discovered because I went to a conference in Madrid and people were talking about this book, not our scholars, Orientalists in 7-day conference in Madrid, in Granada, to be honest, to be exact. So what are the new realities? There are plenty, to be honest. It could be new laws, new taxation, new practice on the ground, new best practices, new convention, new lifestyle. In the past, people don't borrow the money to go to Hajj. They cannot go to the bank and take the money to go to the Hajj because they were entrepreneurs. They work hard, they put aside the money. In the medieval Islamic civilization, the idea of leverage came in. They started to sell their land to get the money, cash, to go to Hajj. When they come back from Hajj, they work hard, earn some money, buy back the land. You know about this product called Al-Wafa in the Hanafi literature, or Al-Uhdah in the Shafi'i school of thought. Ibn Hajar and Ar-Ramli discuss this product in their books of fiqh, in all the books and the commentaries, and this practice was prevalent in Oman for 500 years. Al-Wafa was in practice, but our modern scholars have not endorsed Al-Wafa for one reason or another, which I don't understand. In Maliki school of thought, they call it Bayt al-Sunniyya. So all school of law have come together to endorse Al-Wafa to facilitate the new jurisprudence during that time. But our scholars in the country world have not accepted Al-Wafa because you were the student. Your lecturer should be able to give you the reason why Al-Wafa was not good enough in modern time. Because we were influenced by the Ottoman Civil Code Al-Majallah. The Ottoman Civil Code Al-Majallah was saying this is not a sale, this is a loan contract. When it is a loan contract, then you cannot have the benefit arising from a loan contract. That was the starting point when Al-Wafa or Al-Uhdah or Al-Sunniyya was rejected once and for all. But for me, it's still an ijtihadi matter. If the great scholars in the past were okay with Al-Wafa, can we revive the practice of Al-Wafa? Wanted to have the leverage and refinancing aircraft and shipping, so we can simply sell and buyback in the future without any determined period of time. You may buy back, you may not buy back, but you have the option to buy back in the future. Option to buy back in the future, would that make the contract invalid? I'm selling to you my property. I'm not promoting Al-Wafa, okay? I'm not challenging the current standard in the world, but I'm challenging the thinking process. Whether we should relook into the new realities of using Al-Wafa instead of At-Tawarruk, for example. Because Al-Wafa can help the issue of leveraging and refinancing. So coming back to Hajj just now, people were doing Al-Wafa to get the financing to go to Hajj. Even in Malaysia, this Jual Janji, they call it, is well documented in our national land code, being recognized by the government of Malaysia. The title still in the name of the original owner, but the use of flood, the right to use being transferred to the new owner, if you like. But somehow nowadays, people are salaried people. In the past, people were not salaried. The salaried industry just started in the mid of 19th century in Europe, when we had the Industrial Revolution II, when we have the factories, and people started to be salaried. All the way until now, all of us, or most of us, are salaried. So with the salaried personality, we can start taking the loan, the financing from the bank to go to Hajj and Umrah. The lifestyle has changed. You have the future steady income, where you can predict and you can take some money, 10,000 or 20,000 for your Hajj. You go to Hajj, come back and pay back to the banks. If you were to die early, the takaful will come and protect you by paying the outstanding payment. So it's good to die early. So your law will be settled. Okay? So this is a new lifestyle happening in our world. What is more challenging is the interconnectedness of our new society. Arising from that, we have seen the Amazon, the Lazada, and the Grab, and the Uberization, and what have you. So we have to see how Islamic finance would fit in the new environment of interconnectedness. Sometimes I call this manifestation as the new religion of the world. You see around you, we are living in a world which is well connected. We are well wired. Information, choices, the detail of your background, everything is quite well connected. If you do like the word new religion, I call it new face of humanity. And this will continue for many years to come. And technology, the technology can replace the currency, can replace the contract, from various contract to smart contract, which has been developed by ITER, one of the cryptography in Singapore, uses smart contract to facilitate each and every transaction in Islamic, in financial world and commercial world as well. Smart contract is very powerful contract. Surely your lecturer should be able to give 1 or 2 hours lecture on smart contract. How does smart contract regulate the financial world and the commercial world? If you look into value chain of coal mining, from the underground to the pit, to the stockpile on the lorry, all the way to small boat, all the way to the mothership sold to China. So we need a smart contract for each and every transaction of the coal. The same goes to carbon credit, the same goes to any value chain production in any part of the world. In fact, you can use smart contract for wakaf, for zakat, for everything to make it more measurable and more protected in terms of data, in terms of custody, in terms of the quality and the quantity. So I'm done with the first 3 verticals. What are the mistakes or shortcomings? Talking about new jurisprudence for new realities. The first common mistake, from my perspective though, we tend to use the old template. and all realities for new variable and realities. We talk about construction contract, we talk about delivery contract, we talk about supply contract. We still try our best to fit into either istisna or salam or full stop. As if anything to do with construction, with delivery, with supply, with the maintenance, with what have you, they just fit only two contracts. And these two contracts are istisna and salam. And they're not flexible enough. Are we good with that? Or are we not good with that? So, in my argument, this is the first mistake. I don't think this is good enough. In the current time, under the supply contract Akad At-Tawrid, even OIC Fiqh Academy was puzzled how to define Akad At-Tawrid, the supply contract, because it is neither an istisna nor a salam. So we have to create, and they were saying, Aqdun Mustahdisun. It's a new contract, and they have not provided any solution how to make it possible moving forward. They just endorse on the very nature of the contract. Of course, this is not to their weakness, this is to our weakness. The students, the scholars, we have to take the challenge and try to dive deep into the issues of supply contract and try to bring all the features of the contract, the vehicle of the contracts, the areas which are sensitive to the Sharia, try to remove them if possible, and how to bring the justification. Because most of the transactions of the world are based on supply contract nowadays. The value of supply contracts is much more than the construction contract you can see on the ground. So supply contract has become the new form of real economy. So we cannot push the new realities to the old template and the old realities. You heard about the statement by Ali bin Abi Talib, Karamallahu wajhah. Have you not heard about this statement? In his time, or during his time, anything deposited to the tenor, to the developer, to the contractor is deemed to be amana. It's not a liability. If something happened to the deposited goods like fabric, like raw material, the tailor, the contractor is not liable. And people took it for granted, and the practices of negligence grew, increased, and Ali bin Abi Talib, Karamallahu wajhah, decided to change the principle of law. No more an amana contract. From that day on, everything that the tailor took from the customer, from the owner of the material, is deemed to be a liability. Whatever happened to the fabric is the liability of the tailor and someone in his position. The second mistake, repetitive and overlapping. We tend to be repetitive in our argument, not even providing a new solution, a new argument in our either research or argumentation and articulation. The third and the most challenging one, we tend to prevent new idea and concept from coming into our new society. We are putting a Chinese wall to our own society. We have to protect the parameter of our society. We don't accept anything we sound to be conventional, we sound to be new, we sound to be unprecedented in the past. Preference share, outrightly haram. Okay? Convertible loan stock, it's not possible because you cannot convert the loan into an equity for many other arguments. Capital guarantee scheme for any investment, you cannot provide capital guarantee. Like PMB doing in Malaysia, a scheme to help the underprivileged Malaysian society from having investment opportunity for 1 ringgit. that ringgit will be protected respective of the movement of NAV. Possible, though it is governed and operated by the government, you cannot provide any capital guarantee for any investment under Sharia, for any investment, without looking in the past whether there could be some precedent allowing some capital guarantee for some segment of the investment. And before this, we were, during my time, the side time, we were confronted with the idea of wa'ad cannot be done because wa'ad will lead to capital, to the profit guarantee and what have you, and the Islamic bank have to take the risk of the community to avoid any free profit over Islamic financial transactions. So they were asking Islamic banking to take the goods from the port to his premise before he can deliver to the customer. And this has been going on for many years. We don't allow the new concept of taking the liability and transferring the liability to one another. The last segment at the corporate estate, and this is quite challenging and this is quite relevant to you. The first three are not meant for you, they are meant for scholars, policymakers, but for students, we are not able to unlock the Sharia value inside, the good insight from the Quran and the Sunnah. We tend to take the Quran and the Sunnah principle lightly. We didn't go deeper and deeper to really unlock the real value of the Quran and the Sunnah. The issue of breakage costs. If someone were to break, if I were to enter into Ijara for 10 years, or Murabaha for 10 years, or Musharaka for 10 years, I have decided to break the contract early. They call it breakage. To break the contract, conventionally they call it breakage cost. You have to pay the other party the cost for your breakage. You have broken your tenure early. And most of the scholars of the world were saying this is not possible because this would amount to commitment fee or penalty and what have you. Whereas in our literature, in the Maliki school of thought in particular, there were many references allowing the other party who is affected by the conduct of the other party to get some compensation for anything that hurt him. And the scholars were using the principle of la darara wa la dirar. Of course, we have to put the right interpretation, and we can unlock so many other principles behind the Quran and the Sunnah. In my book, I have written a lot on this issue. In my newly released book, Sharia is Life, I have at least brought forward 10 new themes altogether that I have managed to unlock from the Quran and Sunnah across my book: negligence, liability, the issue of new definition of corruption, even why the Quran blame, or why the Sunnah curse the practitioner of riba, the one who take, the one who give, the one who record, the one who shahida wa katiba, the one who become the witness. But in the case of riba, the case of bribery or financial corruption, the Prophet just cursed two parties: la'anallahu ar-rashi wal murtashi, the one who give, the one who take. But why did the Prophet never, or why didn't he mention also the other culprit in the value chain of the corruption? I put the Sharia values around this topic, which is quite interesting to unlock the value of the hadith, to make the hadith more relevant in the society. If I can share with you, the time is not in our favor, I would say that in my book, in the case of riba, it's a very open, transparent transaction. People are sometimes proud of having that kind of transaction. There's a party for signing off the ceremony to get the riba loan approved. we have the witnesses, we have the media, we have the press. But when it comes to corruption, I don't think people bring on the media. And this is the sociology of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And people try to escape from being known. In fact, the ones who give and take, they use the proxies and nominees and the third party to be involved. So this is how the Prophet was intelligent and how the Sharia was intelligent enough to bring the right value to the society. Because bribery is a faceless crime. There's no face to bribery, and also there was not a victim. For bribery, there was not a victim. A crime which is faceless, no face, and a crime which has no victim is the most difficult crime to fight for. You cannot smell the practices. And in fact, the Prophet can only curse two parties. But in my book, I mentioned we shouldn't stop at that. Islam allows to go beyond that. New jurisprudence for new realities, because bribery has become so common, more common than the crimes against property, theft and robbery, which is the subject matter of hudud. And people talk about hudud all the time, neglecting a more severe, damaging crime, which is bribery or financial corruption. How to create new jurisprudence for new realities. Again, this might be relevant to you. I'm sure these issues are relevant to you. I put here, colleagues, sisters and brothers, a few suggestions. You can have some interaction in the Q&A later on. Data observation. Why we are here in this university, in other universities, is to be a critical researcher and thinker. We're not here to compile the knowledge. We're not here to compile the information. We're not here to compile the data as they are. We are here to be trained by the great scholars, great professors to think critically. A data can be looked from different perspectives. So we have to be able to observe the data and to see how the data interact with the whole society. Remember the case of Ali bin Abi Talib just now? He observed the data. People tend to take it for granted, and many properties were lost in transit. And he got to change it, and he got to remove that culture and put another principle which can protect the interests of people better. Observe the data, observe the pattern, observe everything that you come across in your research. Number two, again my favorite topic. In fact, I have defined a Sharia in a new fashion altogether in my book. And normally in Islamic law books, we define Sharia as what? Sharia are the principles which are revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in the Sunnah, governing all aspects of life. And you got A for that. But that definition has no life. La hayata fiha, or fihi, in the definition. So my book is known as Sharia is Life. I have to make Sharia alive. So in my own attempt, brothers and sisters, I have defined Sharia as principles which are revealed by the Allah or Wahyu, Quran and Sunnah, which govern the ecosystem of human. The ecosystem of human. We need the ecosystem, water, the air, the human to human, human to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, human to the government. Everything that comes under ecosystem, this is part and parcel of the Sharia. And of course, I cannot go on and go on, but this is my new definition of Sharia, to make it more real and more contemporary in my understanding. And for that, we have to be able to observe the ecosystem in your research. If you are doing research on credit card or car financing or sukuk, again, these are the topics which are common to our students. Perhaps Dr. said we have to do something on that. Those who wanted to do paid master, I think we can tolerate a bit. I mean, a bit, not too much. But PhD should be original. It should be something which is in demand that can unlock the value and to solve the problem of the community. In the last, few months, I have talked about wakaf. Okay, you have those who have been following me. They might come across to my statement. I was saying that wakaf shouldn't be limited to something which is tangible and perpetual. Okay? And we have problem now. We have Razi, my colleague at the back, who is also the CEO of Amani Media and Amani Holding. We have doctors beyond borders under Mercy Malaysia. They are going to Syria, they're going to Somalia, they're going to Afghanistan and what have you to help almost anyone, Muslim, non-Muslim, to survive during the wartime and post-war time. And whenever they go for wakaf, give me some money for wakaf, they will say, do you need to buy the van? Yes. Do you need to buy the equipment? Yes. Do you need to buy the blanket? Yes. You can give wakaf. But how about the doctors who need the salaries, who need to eat, who need to fly, who need to be away from their offices for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months? So wakaf is only valid for something which is tangible, you can touch and perpetual. And that prompted the problem to me about 2 years ago. Razi, when we had the Ramadan talk like this, I started articulating that wakaf can also be given to something which is not tangible, which is not perpetual. What is my evidence? I have plenty of evidence. The moment you can see the Sharia as a living creature, you can unlock so many things. I have discovered in the past, perhaps you can do the same thing, more than happy to share the notes later on. The community has given the wakaf to clean the water, river. Is the action of cleaning the river, is that something perpetual or tangible? It's not tangible, it's not perpetual. In fact, it's nothing left after you give, let's say you give 100 dinar or 1,000 dinar, you use the money to clean the rubbish and to deepen perhaps the river maintained as it is, but after some time it erupts and it comes back to the square one. But scholars, the community were supporting the wakaf into an intangibility and something which is not perpetual. The last point, with your permission, I have not finished how to create a new jurisprudence, data observation, ecosystem mindset. You have to take the risk and have to challenge the new discussion in the community. Don't repeat the same topic of master and PhD over and over and over. I got so many interview requests from people like you from many other universities. In fact, I was a bit upset, not because of the interview, more than happy to give 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour at most. But the topic keep coming to me are the same topic over and over and over. This will not develop the industry. This will not develop the country. It will not develop the nation as a whole. And this is something I have to put on record. That you have to move away. In the last 3 weeks, 3 months, Sukuk before on the issue of Dana gas. 3 PhD students from Malaysia, not to mention in Pakistan, in UK. I mean, we are still talking about the same thing over and over too much. Of course, the last time training in classes, we have to have new training. Is new jurisprudence feasible or viable? My answer is not about viable or feasible. We have no option but to. We have to start creating new jurisprudence to face new realities in the world. I have many other points I wanted to share with you, but let me stop at this point. I would like to thank again Dr. Syed Hussain Habshi, Dr. Kamula, the President of the Student Association, and all of you for coming over in this great day of Ramadan to have some great discussion and great engagement on a topic which is hopefully beneficial and useful to everyone. And with that, I would like to thank you again. I would like to encourage everyone to post any question, not that difficult, I hope. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
In fact, we always, after he start to deliberate, I get more excited really. And I think maybe I can just share some observations. One of the challenges that we cannot ignore is coming out with new juristic solutions. But I think today what Dr. Daud has discussed is new jurisprudence. So it is a more structural reform. Looking at the areas, and particularly in the kind of, please do not have another thesis topic that is the same, or just cut and paste. We have to raise the benchmark, all right, and we have to move forward. For those who attended the last methodology, please go back to problematization, all right. Remember, just gap spotting is not enough. You have to go back to the underlying assumptions. I think that's basically what it is. The other thing is the new realities requires two things. I think one, correct me if I'm wrong, is the empirical data, and the other is the socio-psychological. Right? So the socio-psychological aspect now becomes more important, and that is the life that we ignore because we are too focused on the objects. I think that's just some of my comments, and maybe we'll invite more questions.
Thank you very much, Prof. Yes, can we have the questions? How many people, please, can we signify so that we know we manage the time? Please, if you have any question, can you just signify so we know?
Free iftar for those who ask the question.
Oh, you missed that, right? Okay, I'll announce it. Free iftar for those who ask questions. I mean, when it's free, it's another one. So please get this stuff. Yes, how many? 1, 2. The female? Okay, they are warming up. Okay, Prof said you're warming up. 3. Okay, Bismillah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salahuddin. I come from Indonesia. I have one or two questions. As we're talking about new interpretation of Islamic jurisprudence, and somehow when we come we observe the reality, and when we observe the data, sometimes the solution is contradict with the Sharia value. So what should we prioritize? Are we prioritizing just go with the current practice, or should we revive, or should we restart it with another way? So let me put it into example. For instance, nowadays we see a businessman, entrepreneur, they need working capital. They are happy to have interest rate basically with the traditional law, because somehow they think it's cheap and it can reduce their cost of capital, and that's their demand. And secondly, they have another option, which is investment. But in some investment contract, people or investors still need their capital coming back, which is with the higher return. It's costly for the entrepreneur itself. So when we put ourselves as the entrepreneurs, of course we want something cheaper. So, but the loan contract and interest rate and interest in loan contract, we agree, all of us, for Muslim, it's impermissible. So that's kind of example. So my question is, what should we prioritize? Is that the reality, or is that the idealism of Islamic economy, or is the correct jurisprudence? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for that interesting question. But the premise that you have put forward just now was not right, because for Muslim, interest is out of question. We cannot compare interest with equity investment. Perhaps your question will be more relevant and more valid if you are comparing Rabha, Ijarah for working capital vis-a-vis equity financing. That makes more sense. For interest is no go. I mean, whatever you took to say, you cannot borrow conventionally, even to grow your company. You have to do whatever necessary to raise capital among your uncle, auntie, grandma, grandpa, do whatever necessary to get some capital to start your small business. But perhaps I can replace the question between murabaha, ijara, or any other debt financing versus equity financing. And you started by saying we cannot control the value. As a lecturer myself in the past, I would be asking my student, how do you define a value to start off? Give me the very strict definition of value. And I go around the class. What is your value in this issue? What is your value in this issue? After going through the class, believe me, in the past how many years I have been lecturing the student, it's not only one definition of value. The value is subjective. Some people, they will say, I don't care about the dividend I have to pay higher to the equity provider because I don't take the risk of giving back the capital because I just take money from them. I just work hard, I have to share the higher dividend to them. This is the value for him. For some entrepreneur, they were saying, I don't want to share a lot of my dividend to the investor. I would prefer to borrow murabaha, pay them 7%, 8% initial context compared to 15 IRR of mubarabah. Because when you take mubarabah musyarakah, the current IRR in the country is 14 to 20%. So you have to be able to generate that income for you to pay back 14%. Otherwise, you are left with zero. You work hard, and everything, most of them goes to the investor who are putting equity. So value is something that we have to define and redefine as we go on. So before you answer, define what is your value first. And value as value has no strict definition. What more in Islamic civilization? We have seen the concept of debt financing, we have seen the concept of equity financing, we have seen the concept of hybrid financing and what have you. So it's your own risk and reward profile, what they call in the financial world risk-adjusted return. Risk-adjusted return will determine your value at the end of the day. Thank you.
So, thank you very much for this insightful lecture. And I'm sorry to say that I'm still not clear about the term new jurisprudence. And how is it different from ijtihad, which is commonly practiced among many Sharia scholars?
Thank you.
Can I also ask
Okay.
a question?
Ijtihad is something that you have gone through, and Dr. said alluded to the fact juristic solution. This has been a discussion in the past. We have to create new solution, new way of thinking, use this, use that. New jurisprudence is not about that. It's about looking into new dimension of fiqh, of solution. Because in the past we were trapped in 5 or 6 categories of fiqh, cleanliness and ibadah and family munakahat and muamalat and whatnot. So we have neglected a wide range of new jurisprudence. Jurisprudence of environment, jurisprudence of social fairness, jurisprudence of water treatment, jurisprudence of alternative energy, jurisprudence of managing the resources underground, the jurisprudence of managing the hard laborers coming to Malaysia. We tend to treat them so bad. The labor camp standard, the salary of payment, the insurance, the protection for them, the micro takaful. This is new jurisprudence. I'm not talking about the ahkam, the solution. I'm not talking about ijtihad. That has been discussed in the past. So this discussion is about creating new dimension of fiqh. So we are moving from red ocean to blue ocean. Why we are not moving forward? Because everyone is talking about the same thing. Murabah, ijara, financing, banking. Why can't we talk about sharing economy? Caring economy. In my recently published article after the victory of the Pakatan Harapan, the Hope Coalition. I devoted 8 pages on my own column, my own magazine, Malaysian Business. I call the new environment as Rakyatnomics. Rakyat means people economics. I put 5 verticals of how to create the new economy for Rakyat, for people. So this is new jurisprudence. And when we create new jurisprudence, we cannot be following exactly the old template and the old discussion. It's a new ahkam, new ruling, and what have you. So this is what I'm trying to impress on you. State maintenance. In Wakaf, we talk about take the money and build the mosque. After build the mosque, build the school, what happened to the school? Painting, leakage. There's no fake of maintenance, fake of liquidity. How are we going to pay the salary of the Muazzin and Imam and the Wakaf investigation? We have not discussed the need to liquidate part of Wakaf, sell the land, sell the part of the orchard, take the money to pay salary. This is new dimension of the student. So this is a lot, many other things we can do, and we should be doing that to make our Sharia alive and not trapped in the 6 or 5 dimension of faith and ijtihad. It's good to have ijtihad, but in the old dimension of jurisprudence, it cannot grow further. We have to have ijtihad, we have to have a new dimension of jurisprudence. I hope you can follow my understanding. If you...
Okay, thank you very much. My next question is, so what are the prerequisites for being eligible to produce new jurisprudence? Or are we as a PhD student or postgraduate studies eligible to take up this task? Or do you believe into a qualified scholars?
Everyone should be eligible to do that. More so in the classroom. In the classroom, there's no mufti, there's no government, there's no ruler, there's no prime minister, there's no even lecturer. It's a very democratic lecturer can mark the mark at the end of the day. But in the classroom, put all the issues, discuss it, deliberate it, and try to brainstorm it, and try to think as a scholar. But outside, don't talk. Don't issue the fatwa because you're not the mufti. The problem, you go out, you issue the fatwa. Where are you? You are which year? 3rd year, PhD. Issue the fatwa already. It's not good. You cannot challenge the authority. But in the classroom, you are the great mufti. You know what? I'm trying to put the metaphor that the classroom is the place for you to brainstorm almost everything. Don't keep to yourself. Argue. And by doing that, in fact, I put in my note, frequent training in the classroom will create new jurisprudence within your community. Inshallah. Yeah.
Have a brief question.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Doctor. As I hear, in my opinion, the new jurisprudence is still related to the ijtihad. That is in my opinion. A new jurisprudence is very important, and as the ijtihad, there's no something new in our Islamic touch. Like Shafi'i, there is al-qadim and al-jadid. The i'adatul nazar is something important for us. The one reason is the reason is al-illah huwa al-muhim. Al-illah huwa al-muhim.
What?
Al-illah huwa al-muhim. Al-muhim, important. The reason is important.
Yeah.
Because that the problem in our community is different al-madhhab.
Yeah.
I'm Shafi'i, maybe the others in Maliki, Hanafi, and so on. My question is, should the madhhab unite to create new jurisprudence?
I think, if I may say, you have not seen my idea as clear as it should be clear to all of you. We're not talking about the existing fiqh in the book that we have studied so far. If I can use the whiteboard, if any. Sorry about the camera. So this is the list of the current jurisprudence. 1, 2, 3. Let's say we have 100 jurisprudence. Murabahah, Ijara, development, construction. You can list even to 1,000, even 10,000. I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about the new jurisprudence which have not been discussed at all in the past, but they are living within us. Environment, supply contract, compensation. In the past there was no compensation. Even conversion, to convert the product and the entity to Islamic. In the past there was no fiqh of conversion. There was no fiqh of tahawul at all. Because there was no need to convert, because everything was Sharia compliant. Are you following? So here it could be 100,000 cases of new jurisprudence which were not covered by the 10,000 cases in our current Islamic law book. Here we apply mazahib, you are right, we have different mazahib, we have ijtihad, use it whatever, but create this dimension first and bring ijtihad to solve the problem. That was the whole hypothesis I'm trying to share with you today. And that make yourself busy and occupied. I become occupied because I don't talk about this anymore. Because khalas, intaha kulli shay. Khitamuhu misk. But the moment عندما فتحنا أبوابا جديدة في آفاق الفقه المعاصر الذي يعيش فيما بيننا نستطيع أن نستطلع إلى آفاق الحياة الجديدة وهي كلها موجودة من خلال آيات القرآن. I mentioned about وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. What is the new jurisprudence in this ayah? For many of us, I was part of you in the past, nothing much, just to remind one another on something which is truthful and leading to passion. But if you use your mind carefully, which Allah has given all of us, it's not about that. We talk about وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. Becoming new jurisprudence. Faith, check and balance. Faith, check and balance. Arabic term. I can think at the moment. Sorry. This is a new jurisprudence. If I can take faith, check and balance itself, it can open up so many things. Al-Hisbah, Nahyu, Amr bil Ma'ruf, Nahy bil Munkar, the best practices, the standard, the disclosure, the SOP of anything, approval or non-approval. A lot of things can be discovered under check and balance. And check and balance is not from the West, from Surah Al-Asri. It's not from the West, from our own civilization. This is how the fiqh or the Sharia should be looked at to bring back the life to the Sharia. Are you following, everyone? So I'm asking you to, of course you have to continue doing this, reading, analyzing, thinking, improving, refine it, make it more relevant, but try to create. I have created so far about 200 new jurisprudence, to be honest. Maintenance, liquidity, conversion. They was not discussed, negligent to some extent, and some discussed about ta'asuf, abuse of power. Of course, in the past, ta'asuf has been used to look into mu'amala cases. But nowadays, it's political life. In the administration, use of power. I don't like this dean, I remove him. This is haqq ta'asuf. Without any notices, without any reason. He got to pack his thing and move out. Is that Sharia compliant? This is the new thing we have to talk about. The new jurisprudence we are talking about. Okay? Sorry, you need an example.
We like you so much.
Everyone like you very much. Next, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. My name is Nabil Bello. My question is very short. I understand the concept of new jurisprudence, but do you consider there's new principles of jurisprudence? The usul al-fiqh, does it need to be also changed? And is it possible also?
Okay, interesting question. One lead to another. When we open up a new dimension, we have to be open to reopen even usul fiqh. I'm also a scholar of usul fiqh. I have written a lot on usul fiqh, more than Islamic banking finance. To answer your question, in short answer, yes. Many of the usul fiqh discussion are historical, or what of the data are not real in trying to get the evidence on the ground. Even the qiyas, the ijma, of course, is not that effective. The qiyas is the most effective instrument to create new law, but how many of us are well versed with the new form of qiyas using the data, using the empirical research, and what have you? So this needs to be refined as well. So I don't want to talk about usul fiqh at the moment, a new usul fiqh perspective, but perhaps the new dimension of jurisprudence, which is real, that needs some solution from the Sharia perspective. Social media, for example, a lot of issues in the market because we don't have a fit of social media. What can be forwarded, what cannot be forwarded, what can be viral, what cannot be viral. This requires a solution. I met with the Association of Imams from Australia. They came to my office. They have the Jam'iyyatul Al-A'immah in Australia. They have many districts. The chairman came to see me, and we were discussing about Ramadan, how to fix the Ramadan, either using the traditional way of moon sighting or they call it the English falak, what is called in Arabic or English, astronomy, calculation. And he was saying to me, which struck me a lot, Dr. Daud, in Australia we cannot afford to use moon sighting because we are living in non-Muslim country. We have to fix our holiday, our employer are non-Muslim. We have to follow from day one when would be the date of the Ramadan and the Eid. We cannot be from Saudi or Pakistani or Indonesia and neighboring countries. We cannot do this. It's a new jurisprudence because a new environment in Australia. I said, well, Sheikh, you are right. I didn't think that way because we are in Malaysia, we can afford to do that. Even in Malaysia, how did we decide our moon? We control our moon movement. I hope you can follow my joke, but you're not following. Thank you.
Any more questions, please? Any more?
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arif. So, I'm not from your area. I did my degree in your area, but I did my master in design. But you're welcome. I have one question. I mean, not really regarding jurisprudence or anything, but it just struck my mind when you talk about wakaf just now. So, I mean, the argument or the hard line is that has to be, I mean, what people believe is that it has to be tangible or perpetual. And I mean, obviously, like you mentioned that there are evidences that it doesn't have to be that way. But it's just something that struck out of my mind, and I don't know if there's any evidence or not. But can a legal entity like a corporation be considered for wakaf? Because technically it's perpetual.
Yes.
And like a university or any other stuff. So that, for example, like initiative, for example, like the doctors beyond borders and all that can be done under this so-called legal entity that can facilitate this. Yeah, so that's it's just a thought that struck me.
I think you are right. In that forum of National Wakaf Seminar organized by the Malaysian Higher Education, I mentioned people are reluctant to give wakaf in terms of scholarship because scholarship disappears, evaporates. But I would say it didn't, because the fees, so the wakaf money goes to the student use the money to pay the fees for the university. So the university building still remains, because university is about the whole environment, the ecosystem, providing the services to the student. So from that perspective, I was saying the wakaf can be in the form of scholarship, can be in the form of sponsoring the Doctors Beyond Borders, because we have the association putting the organization for them, ticketing and insurance for them. If they were to die, they were to be injured, so organization will come in and pay their family and whatnot. So we have to see from that perspective. Having said that, as a person, I don't require that. I can go a bit extra to allow a very flexible way of wakaf to help for the good cause of the society. I'm writing a book on that. Islamic social finance, a new definition. Because if you don't unlock this limitation, wakaf cannot grow. It's about asset, it's about building, it's about this and that. So we have to unlock the value of zakat. Wama al-muhsinin min sabil. In the Quran, this is again another principle. When it comes to good charitable work, we cannot be putting so many limitations. There's no blame, there's no limitation on the muhsinin. Wama al-muhsinin min sabil. This is a very Quranic teaching that we should be flexible in muhsinin, in doing good to the society. Okay, nothing from the female, they cannot break the fast now.
Yes, you want me to?
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I can add a little bit. Sometimes while you are thinking about this, I was thinking about something else. But this something else came together somehow. I think one of our challenges is we get into what I call semantic traps. You see a particular term and you cannot see anything else. So I give an example like wakaf, right? So when you see wakaf, you get into a semantic trap, and you have all these religious restrictions or whatever. But I could recall, coming back to Singapore, we used to have, at that time, I use we because then I was a Singaporean, now it's them, that there was no wakaf for mosque, but there was a fund, and it's called Mosque Building Fund. And everyone just put $2 from their salary to this fund. And what happens after that, every housing estate got a mosque. Without having to say, I'm going to wakaf mosque. So maybe there could be a jurisprudence on fund, or fund management. So this gives us a new idea, a new perspective. Otherwise, we just like, oh, that's it. And then finally, what happened to most of our wakaf assets? The value is still not unlocked. And this is the problem that we have. So we need new thinking, all right? So that we open up and we see new solutions. That's all.
The key word is you cannot be semantically trapped. In fact, the Sharia was revealed not to worship the semantic, not to follow the mustalahat and nomenclature, but to follow and to abide by the very substance. Al-Amratu bil-ma'ani al-maqasid wal-ma'ani wa laysa bil-alfadi wal-mabani. So this is the very legal basic of Sharia principle. Don't worship the nomenclature or the mustalahat. It's important, but it's not that important all the time. Okay, Dr. Ko, I didn't see you just now. You sleeping. Thank you very much. Don't ask me tough questions.